The Chicago crime boss brought his fiancée to dinner, never expecting the pregnant waitress serving his table to be the wife who vanished 6 months ago. Avery Lane had traded silk dresses for a black server's uniform, a lakefront penthouse for a cramped apartment, and a dangerous marriage for the fragile hope of freedom. But the moment Cole Mercer looked up from that candlelit table and saw her hand protectively covering her unborn child, every secret she had buried came back to life. This is more than a story about a powerful man reclaiming the woman who left him. It is about the terrifying line between love and possession, safety and captivity, forgiveness and surrender. Stay until the end, because every choice Avery makes will change the life of her daughter. Like the video and comment where you are watching from. The silence after Cole said her name felt heavier than the music drifting through the restaurant. Avery could still feel every eye inside the private dining room moving between her face, her stomach, and the diamond on Sloane Whitaker's hand. The candlelight was soft. The table was set with crystal and white roses. It should have looked romantic. Instead, it looked like the scene of an execution. Cole rose slowly from his chair. He did not look at Sloane. He did not look at the unfinished wine or the menus spread across the table. His attention remained fixed on the hand Avery had placed over her stomach. "How far along are you?" Avery stepped backward. The heel of her shoe struck the base of a serving cart. A glass trembled against a silver tray. "I will find another server." Cole moved around the table. "Answer me." The command was quiet. That was how Cole had always spoken when he expected the world to obey. Avery remembered that voice in candlelit bedrooms, in crowded ballrooms, in the back seat of black cars waiting outside buildings that had no names on their doors. She remembered mistaking control for certainty. "You do not get to question me," she said. Sloane slowly lowered her hand from the table. "Cole, who is she?" Avery turned toward the door. Cole's voice followed her. "Do not walk away from me." She looked back over her shoulder. For one terrible second, she saw the man she had married. Not the crime boss whispered about in courtrooms and police stations. Not the man standing in the warehouse while someone begged for his life. She saw the husband who used to warm her side of the bed before she climbed beneath the covers. Then his gaze dropped to her stomach again, and possession replaced shock. "You lost the right to give me orders," she said. "No," Cole answered. "You decided I did." Avery pushed through the frosted glass door before he could reach her. She moved quickly across the dining room, keeping one hand near her stomach and the other clenched at her side. The room seemed longer than it had moments earlier. Every table became an obstacle. Every stranger looked like one of Cole's men. The baby shifted inside her. "I know," Avery whispered. "I know." She reached the kitchen and nearly collided with Mia Torres. Mia caught her by the shoulders. "Hey, slow down. I have to leave." Avery pulled off her apron. Her fingers would not cooperate with the knot. Mia glanced toward the dining room doors. "What happened?" "He found me." "Who found you?" Avery stopped struggling with the apron. "My husband." Mia's eyebrows lifted. "You said you were separated?" "We are. Does he know about the baby?" Avery finally tore the knot loose. "He does now." The words made the truth feel permanent. Mia looked at Avery's face, then toward the dining room again. "Is he the man from the Mercer table?" Avery said nothing. Mia's expression changed. Everyone in Chicago knew Cole Mercer's name, even if most people pretended they did not. His companies owned office towers, trucking routes, nightclubs, private security firms, and enough city officials to make questions disappear before they were asked. Mia lowered her voice. "Avery, that man is your husband." "Not for much longer." "You never said." "I was trying not to be the woman who had to say it." Avery grabbed her coat from the employee rack. Tyler Boone appeared in the doorway before she could reach the rear exit. The floor manager looked as if someone had drained all the blood from his face. "Mr. Mercer wants to speak with you." "No." Tyler stared at her. "What do you mean, no? I mean I am leaving. You cannot just walk out in the middle of service." "Fire me. This is not about your job." His eyes darted toward the hall behind him. "You do not tell Cole Mercer, no." Avery pulled on her coat. "I just did." Tyler stepped in front of the exit. "He owns the building." The kitchen noise continued around them, but Avery heard only those 4 words. "What the company that bought the property 2 months ago belongs to him. He requested security footage from every entrance 10 minutes ago. His people are already outside." Avery looked toward the narrow window in the rear door. Rain streaked the glass. A delivery truck idled beside the curb. 2 men stood near it, both wearing dark jackets. Neither man looked like a delivery driver. Her heart began beating too fast. Tyler lowered his voice. "I do not know what is happening, and I do not want to know. But he asked to meet you in my office. Please do not make this worse." Avery looked at Mia. Mia reached into her pocket and slipped Avery a small canister of pepper spray. It was almost useless against Cole. The gesture still mattered. "I will be right outside," Mia said. Avery closed her fingers around the canister. "No, stay here, Avery, please." Mia studied her for a moment, then nodded. Tyler's office sat at the end of a narrow service corridor. It was barely large enough for a desk, 2 metal chairs, and a filing cabinet leaning slightly to one side. Avery entered and remained standing. She positioned herself near the desk where she could reach the telephone. The door opened less than a minute later. Cole stepped inside alone. He closed the door behind him. The quiet click of the latch made Avery's stomach tighten. For several seconds, he only looked at her. His charcoal suit fit him perfectly. His dark hair was brushed back from his face. There was a faint line near his jaw where a knife had cut him years before they met. Avery had once traced that scar with her fingertips. Now she measured the distance between him and the door. "You cut your hair," Cole said. She almost laughed. "That is what you noticed. I noticed everything." His eyes moved over her face, her uniform, her worn shoes, and finally her stomach. How far along? Avery folded her arms. "Why does it matter?" Cole took one step closer. "Because I asked. And I stopped answering your questions 6 months ago. You stopped answering everyone's questions. I left. You disappeared. There is a difference. Not to the people who spent months looking for you." Avery felt anger rising beneath her fear. "You were not looking for me. You were hunting me. If I had been hunting you, Avery, you would not have lasted 6 days. The certainty in his voice chilled her. Cole moved closer again. She lifted the pepper spray. His gaze dropped to it. For the first time that night, something almost human touched his expression. "You always hated carrying those things. I learned to hate other things more." His face became still. Avery saw the moment he understood exactly what she meant. "The child," he said. "Is it mine?" She looked away. Cole's voice softened. "Avery, you are engaged." "That was not my question. You brought another woman here to discuss your honeymoon. That arrangement has nothing to do with this, nothing to do with your pregnant wife serving your dinner." His jaw tightened. "You left me. I escaped you." From what Avery looked at him. "Do not insult me by pretending you do not know." The room seemed to shrink around them. Cole's gaze did not change, but the air did. Avery remembered the first time she saw that stillness in him. It had not been in Chicago. It had been at a charity auction in Milwaukee 3 years earlier. She had been helping coordinate the event for a hospital foundation. Cole arrived late wearing a dark blue suit and carrying no visible impatience, even though half the room stopped moving when he entered. He did not approach the politicians or the donors waiting to shake his hand. He walked directly toward Avery. "You are the person keeping this place from collapsing," he had said. She had laughed. "You can tell that from across the room. I can tell by the way everyone looks at you before making a decision." He remembered her name after hearing it once. He remembered that her mother had undergone surgery the previous month. The next morning, flowers arrived at her mother's house with no business card and no request for gratitude. Cole never overwhelmed Avery with gifts in the beginning. He gave her attention. He listened. He waited. When she asked what he did, he told her he managed transportation companies, real estate, and private security. Every word was true. None of it was honest. He courted her for 9 months before proposing. He drove to Milwaukee every weekend. He met her mother. He sat through dinners with relatives who asked intrusive questions and told embarrassing childhood stories. He never raised his voice. He never looked bored. He made danger feel like patience. Their wedding took place at a small church outside Lake Geneva. Cole said privacy protected the people he loved. Avery mistook secrecy for devotion. The first year of marriage felt like stepping into another world. There were drivers, private elevators, restaurants that opened after closing because Cole wanted dinner, and men who stood whenever he entered a room. Avery noticed how quickly people obeyed him. She did not ask why. There had been signs. Calls taken on the terrace at 3 a.m, blood on the cuff of a white shirt, a city official who apologized after speaking too casually to her at a fundraiser, a man who vanished from Cole's company after Avery overheard an argument. Each time she asked, Cole gave her enough truth to quiet the question. Each time she chose to believe him. Until the night of the warehouse. Avery had found Cole's shirt in the bathroom sink. Dark blood stained the collar and one sleeve. Cole told her a security employee had been injured during an attempted robbery. His voice was calm, too calm. Later that evening, Cole left the penthouse without his usual driver. Avery followed him. She took a taxi to the Calumet Industrial District and watched his car disappear through the gates of an old freight warehouse. Rain fell hard against the pavement. Avery slipped through a side entrance after one of Cole's men stepped outside to answer a call. Inside, the warehouse smelled of oil rust and river water. She hid behind a row of freight containers. Cole stood beneath a hanging work light. A man knelt in front of him with his hands tied behind his back. His face was swollen. Blood ran from his mouth onto his shirt. Avery would later learn his name was Victor Rourke. At the time, he was only a frightened man begging Cole to believe him. "I never gave them your family," Victor said. Cole stood with his hands in his coat pockets. "You gave them roots, accounts, and names. I was trying to protect my brother. You sold men who trusted you." Victor looked toward the guards surrounding him. "I can fix it." Cole's expression did not change. "No." The men moved closer. Victor began pleading. Cole did not raise his voice. He did not strike him. He did not even turn away. He simply gave permission. The first scream froze Avery where she stood. She wanted to run. Her legs would not move. Cole watched while his men forced names and locations from Victor. He asked questions in the same calm tone he used when discussing dinner reservations. When Victor finally had nothing left to give, Cole stepped closer. "You knew the cost," Victor sobbed. Cole nodded to the man holding the gun. Avery made a sound before the shot. Cole turned toward the darkness. For 1 second, his eyes seemed to find her through the shadows. Avery ran. She returned to the penthouse before him. She packed one small bag and left behind everything that could be traced. No credit cards, no jewelry, no passport. She took cash from an emergency envelope in the kitchen and boarded the first bus leaving the city. Halfway to Milwaukee, she stopped breathing properly. The driver pulled into a station near a hospital after another passenger called for help. Avery collapsed outside the emergency entrance. Dr. Noah Bennett was the physician who found her. He had kind eyes and tired hands. He did not touch her until she nodded. He did not call the police when she begged him not to. "You are safe here," he told her. The words made her cry harder. Noah treated the cuts on her palms and sat beside her until the shaking stopped. He gave her the number of a women's shelter. Later, he helped her find a short-term room under her maiden name. When Avery discovered she was pregnant, Noah was the first person she told. He did not ask who the father was. He only asked whether she was safe. For several weeks, Noah became the closest thing she had to a normal life. He brought groceries when morning sickness left her too weak to shop. He found a clinic that accepted cash. He never pressured her to explain the wedding ring she wore on a chain beneath her clothes. Then he accepted a position in Seattle. The announcement came suddenly. Noah said it was a career opportunity. Avery heard fear in his voice. She asked if someone had threatened him. He denied it too quickly. Standing now in Tyler's office, Avery looked at Cole and understood that Noah's departure had never been a coincidence. "You knew where I was," she said. Cole did not deny it. "You had me watched. I had you protected. You let me believe I had escaped. You needed distance. I needed freedom. You needed time to stop being afraid of me." Avery laughed once without humor. "And did it work?" Cole's gaze dropped to the pepper spray still in her hand. "No." The office door opened. Sloane Whitaker stood in the hallway. Her silver dress caught the dull fluorescent light, making her look strangely out of place among the stained walls and stacked invoices. Her face was controlled, but her eyes were not. She looked at Cole, then at Avery, then at the wedding ring hanging from the chain around Avery's neck. "This is your wife." Cole said nothing. Avery answered. "Legally." Sloane's gaze sharpened. "You told me the divorce was final. I told you it would be handled," Cole said. "That is not the same thing." "No." Sloane looked at Avery's stomach, and the baby, Cole's eyes moved to Avery. "That will also be handled." Avery stepped toward him. "Do not speak about my child like a business problem." Cole's expression hardened. "Our child." Sloane went very still. The humiliation in her face did not look rehearsed. It looked personal. "You told me she left more than a year ago." Cole's voice lowered. "This is not the place. You brought me here." Avery looked between them. Something about Sloane's words felt wrong. "Why this restaurant?" Avery asked. Neither of them answered. Sloane gave Cole a long, bitter look. Then she turned to Avery. "You should ask him why he came here tonight." Cole moved toward the door. "Sloane," she lifted her chin. "You needed a public reason to end our engagement. Congratulations. You found one." Avery stared at Cole. "What does she mean?" Cole ignored the question. He removed his coat and placed it over Avery's shoulders. She pushed it away. "I am not going anywhere with you." Cole bent close enough that only she could hear him. There were 2 men watching the rear exit and one in the kitchen pretending to be a delivery driver. Avery's fingers tightened around the pepper spray. "They are not mine." The lights flickered. Cole's entire posture changed. The husband disappeared. The man from the warehouse took his place. He opened the office door. "Bring the car around," he ordered. "Now." A broad man in a dark suit appeared at the end of the corridor. Avery recognized Grant Keller Cole's closest lieutenant. Grant touched one finger to an earpiece. Movement near the alley. Cole looked at Avery. "The people I came here to stop already know you are pregnant." Tyler stood pressed against the wall as Cole guided Avery through the service corridor. She resisted when his hand settled at her back. To everyone watching, it might have looked protective. Avery knew it was restraint. The rear exit opened into cold rain. A black SUV waited beside the curb with its engine running. Across the street, a man raised a phone. Grant moved between them immediately. Another security guard opened the vehicle door. Avery stopped. "I have an apartment." "Not anymore," Cole said. Her stomach dropped. "What did you do?" "Your belongings are being collected. You had no right." Cole looked at her stomach. "I have more rights than you want me to have." Avery considered screaming. Then the man across the street lowered his phone and reached inside his coat. Cole's guards shifted as one. Cole placed himself between Avery and the street. "Get in the car." For once, the fear in his voice was not for himself. Avery climbed inside. Cole followed. The doors locked with a heavy mechanical sound. Chicago slid past the tinted windows in streaks of gold and rain. Avery sat as far from Cole as the seat allowed. Who were those men? People who should never have found you. That is not an answer. They work for Mason Rourke. The name meant nothing to her. Cole looked out the window. Victor Rourke's brother. The warehouse returned in a rush of light blood and gunfire. Avery turned toward him. "The man you killed. The man who betrayed me." "Mason wants revenge." "Yes, against you." Cole looked at her stomach. Not anymore. The SUV entered an underground garage beneath a tower overlooking Lake Michigan. Avery had once known every guard in the building. None of the faces waiting for them were familiar. Cole escorted her into the private elevator. She pressed the button for the lobby. Nothing happened. "The panel requires authorization," he said. "You changed it. I improved it." The elevator opened directly into the penthouse. Nothing had changed. The marble floors still reflected the city lights. Her books remained on the shelves. The painting she once hated still hung above the fireplace. Fresh flowers stood beside the bedroom door. Avery felt as though she had walked into a room preserved after her death. "You kept everything." Cole removed his jacket. "You were coming home. I was never coming back. You are here because you forced me into a car, because armed men were waiting outside your workplace. You knew where I worked. Yes, you knew where I lived. Yes." How long? Cole did not answer immediately. Avery stepped closer. "How long, Cole?" 4 months. The truth struck harder than she expected. "You watched me struggle. I watched you survive. You watched me work double shifts while pregnant. You refused every account I placed in your name, because I knew the money came from you. You chose poverty to prove a point. I chose a life that belonged to me." Cole's face became still. "You lived in an apartment with a broken exterior lock. You walked home after midnight. You saw a physician whose protection consisted of good intentions. Noah helped me. Noah left you." Avery felt the words like a slap. "You made him leave." Cole moved toward the bar. "I gave him an opportunity in Seattle. You threatened him. I explained the consequences of remaining near my wife. Your wife who ran from you." He poured water into a glass and placed it on the counter in front of her. Avery did not touch it. Cole watched her. "Sit down." "No." "You are exhausted." I said no. For a moment, neither moved. Then Cole nodded once. It was not surrender. It was recognition. Avery looked toward the elevator. "Open it." "No. You cannot keep me here. I can keep you alive." She walked to the panel and pressed every button. Nothing responded. "You kidnapped me. I removed you from a target zone. You do not get to rename what you did." Cole came closer. Avery turned to face him. "If Mason Rourke is real, call the police." Cole almost smiled. "The police? Yes. You have been gone long enough to forget who answers their phones." The answer chilled her because she believed him. Avery placed both hands over her stomach. Cole's gaze followed. "Tomorrow, a physician will examine you. I already have a doctor. His expression changed. Not anymore. Avery felt cold spread through her arms. What did you do to Noah? I did not touch him. Then where is he? Cole reached into his jacket and placed a phone on the table. The screen showed a news article from Seattle. Local physician missing after hospital shift. Avery read the headline twice. The room tilted beneath her. No. His car was found near the hospital, Cole said. His apartment was untouched. You said you gave him a new life. I did. Avery looked up. And now he is gone. Cole's voice became quieter. The last call Noah Bennett made was to you. Avery remembered the unknown number that had appeared on her phone 3 nights earlier. She had been too tired to answer. No message had been left. Cole watched the realization cross her face. Someone found him before I could. Avery stared at the locked elevator behind him. For the first time since entering the penthouse, she understood that the walls might not have been built only to keep her inside. They might also have been built to keep something else out. For the first time since entering the penthouse, Avery understood that the walls might not have been built only to keep her inside. They might also have been built to keep something else out. She looked again at the article on Cole's phone. The photograph showed Noah Bennett smiling beneath hospital lights, his white coat open over blue scrubs. It was an ordinary picture. Kind eyes, tired expression. The face of a man who had spent years learning how to save people. Beneath it, the headline repeated the words she could not accept. Local physician missing after hospital shift. Avery lowered the phone. When was this published? This morning. And you knew before you brought me here? Yes. You knew Noah was missing, and you still let me believe he simply left. Cole's expression remained controlled. At the restaurant, I was trying to remove you before Mason's men reached you. That does not answer me. Noah accepted the position in Seattle because I made remaining in Chicago uncomfortable. Uncomfortable. I did not harm him. You frightened him enough to leave his home. I gave him money protection and a career he could not have reached for years. You removed him from my life. Cole held her gaze. Yes. The honesty should have made the answer easier to process. It did not. Avery walked toward the windows. Lake Michigan stretched beyond the glass black beneath the rain. From this height, the city appeared peaceful. Traffic moved in orderly lines. Lights shone in apartment windows. People crossed sidewalks with umbrellas held over their heads. Down there, doors opened. Elevators responded when buttons were pressed. A person could walk outside without asking permission. Avery rested one palm against the cold glass. Did Noah call me because he knew someone was following him? I do not know. Did he leave a message? No. Did you listen to the call? It never connected. She turned. How do you know that Cole did not answer? Avery understood anyway. You had access to my phone. I had access to the account. You tracked every call. I tracked anything that could lead someone to you. Someone did find me. His jaw tightened. Yes. So all your watching did not protect me. It gave me enough time to reach you first. Avery stared at him. Cole Mercer could turn every failure into evidence that he needed more control. She had once admired that quality. In business meetings, it looked like discipline. In their marriage, it had felt like competence. Problems vanished before she had time to understand them. Now she saw what it really meant. Cole did not solve uncertainty. He removed it. People choices, doors questions. Anything he could not control became a threat. Avery looked toward the hallway leading to the guest rooms. I am not sleeping in our bedroom. Cole placed both hands against the bar. You are tired. That is not an answer. The guest room has been prepared. She had expected an argument. His agreement made her suspicious. Why? Because forcing you into my bed would make you hate me more than you already do. The words were quiet, almost gentle. Avery felt the old pull of his voice and hated herself for recognizing it. "You still think this is temporary?" she said. Cole looked at her. "I think anger changes shape when people survive long enough." Avery picked up the phone showing Noah's article. "And if he does not survive?" Something dark entered Cole's expression. "Then Mason Rourke will learn why men fear taking what belongs to me." Avery flinched. Cole saw it. His face changed, but the damage had already been done. "I do not belong to you." He was silent for a moment. Then he said, "Go rest." Avery carried the phone with her. Cole did not stop her. The guest room looked exactly as it had during their marriage. Cream walls, pale carpet, a carved wooden bed no guest had ever used. The curtains had been changed, but everything else remained still and impersonal. Avery locked the door. Then she tested it. The lock worked from the inside. That should have comforted her. Instead, she wondered whether Cole had ordered it repaired because he knew she would try. She sat on the edge of the bed and read the article again. Noah had finished a late shift shortly before midnight. Security footage showed him walking alone toward the parking garage. His car remained in the same space the next morning. His phone had last connected to a tower near the hospital. No sign of struggle. No witnesses. No suspects. Avery searched the article for details Cole might have missed. There were none. She tried calling Noah's number. The call failed immediately. She called the hospital. A recorded voice asked her to select a department. Before she could press the number, the line went dead. Avery looked at the phone. No signal. She crossed the room and lifted the hotel-style telephone from the nightstand. No dial tone. A soft knock sounded at the door. Avery stood. "Who is it?" Nora Quinn. The name pulled another memory from her old life. Nora had managed Cole's homes for nearly 15 years. She had ordered groceries, arranged security clearances, and appeared with tea whenever Avery had been ill. She had also known what Cole truly was. Avery had wondered many times how many conversations Nora had overheard without warning her. She opened the door only a few inches. Nora stood in the hallway holding a tray. Her dark hair was streaked with silver now. Her posture remained straight, her expression calm. "I brought soup and bread. I am not hungry." "You said that often during the first weeks of your pregnancy." Avery tightened her grip on the door. "How do you know about the first weeks?" Nora looked at her without embarrassment. "Mr. Mercer received copies of your medical records." Avery almost closed the door. Nora placed one hand against it. "Before you decide not to eat out of anger, remember that your daughter has not done anything to deserve hunger." The words were harsh. They were also effective. Avery opened the door. Nora entered and placed the tray on a small table. Steam rose from a bowl of chicken soup. The bread was warm. A glass of water stood beside a folded white napkin. Everything had been chosen carefully. "What did Cole tell you?" Avery asked. "That you were returning." "He kidnapped me." Nora adjusted the spoon. "He brought you somewhere secure. You all speak the same language. We have survived the same kind of world." Avery watched her. "Did you know he was following me?" "Yes." "Did you know Noah was missing?" Nora paused. "I knew a doctor in Seattle had become involved." "That is not what I asked." "No, I did not know he was missing." Avery believed her, not because Nora sounded sincere, but because the smallest crease had appeared between her eyebrows. What happens if I try to leave Nora turned toward the door? The elevators will not move without authorization. The stairwells are monitored. The terrace has pressure sensors and cameras. That was not what I asked. Nora looked back. "Mr. Mercer will stop you. How do not make him decide." The door closed behind her. Avery sat at the table and stared at the soup. She ate every spoonful. Not because Cole wanted her to, because Rose did. The name came into her mind before she realized she had chosen it. Rose, her grandmother's name. Avery placed her hand over the slight movement beneath her skin. "You are not his possession," she whispered, "and neither am I." The next morning she began studying the penthouse. Cole left shortly after sunrise. 2 guards remained near the elevator. Another stood inside the service corridor. Nora moved between the kitchen and the bedrooms with quiet efficiency. Avery behaved as though she had accepted the situation. She ate breakfast. She asked for fresh air. She allowed Nora to show her the clothes Cole had purchased. They were all in Avery's size. Maternity dresses, soft sweaters, flat shoes, nightgowns, coats. No black uniform, no cheap fabric. No reminder of the life she had created without him. Avery ran her fingers over a cashmere sleeve. Did he choose these? He approved them. That is not the same thing. No, Nora said. It rarely is. Avery selected a gray sweater and loose black pants. When Nora left, Avery searched the pockets of every coat and jacket in the closet. Nothing. She examined the dresser, the vents, the smoke detector, and the underside of the bed. A small camera was fixed inside the upper corner of the room. Avery stared at it. Then she dragged a chair beneath it and covered the lens with a silk scarf. Less than 2 minutes later, Cole called the room. She answered. "Yes, remove the scarf." "No." "Avery, you said the guest room was mine." "It is." "Then stop watching me inside it. I need to know you are safe. You need to know I am obedient." Silence filled the line. Avery waited. Finally, Cole said, "The camera will be disabled. How generous. It was installed before you returned. And now I am here." "Yes." "Then turn it off." A soft click sounded near the ceiling. A small green light beside the lens went dark. Avery looked at the camera. For once, Cole had given up a piece of control because she demanded it. The victory was small. She held on to it anyway. That afternoon, a physician arrived with 2 assistants and portable equipment. Dr. Lena Brooks appeared to be in her early 50s. She wore a navy dress beneath her white coat and spoke directly to Avery rather than looking to Cole for permission. "I understand you have not had an examination in several weeks. I had one scheduled for Monday." "With your regular doctor?" "Yes." Dr. Brooks looked at Cole. "I need to speak with Mrs. Mercer alone." Cole stood near the windows. Avery expected him to refuse. Instead, he nodded and left the room. The door closed. Dr. Brooks waited several seconds. "Are you here voluntarily?" Avery looked toward the door. "No." The doctor's expression remained calm. "Are you in immediate physical danger? I do not think he would hurt me." "That is not the same answer." "No," Avery said. "I am not in immediate physical danger. Do you want me to contact law enforcement?" Avery thought of Cole laughing when she suggested the police. She thought of Noah's missing person article. She thought of the men outside Halcyon. Not yet. "Doctor." Brooks did not question the answer. "I will document that you declined. You can change your mind at any time." The examination began. Avery lay back while the doctor moved the ultrasound device across her stomach. The room filled with the rapid rhythm of a heartbeat. Avery closed her eyes. Every fear inside her became quiet for one precious second. "There she is," Dr. Brooks said. Avery opened her eyes. A small shape appeared on the screen. A curved spine, a tiny hand, the outline of a face turned slightly away. "She is healthy. Her heartbeat is strong." Avery exhaled. Dr. Brooks adjusted the image. "You are farther along than your previous records indicate." Avery's body tensed. How much farther? Approximately 28 weeks. I thought I was 24. That would be an understandable mistake if your cycles were irregular during a period of severe stress. Avery stared at the screen. 28 weeks. The child had been conceived before she left Cole, before the warehouse, before the bus ride, before Noah found her outside the emergency entrance. There had never been a real question. She had known that somewhere beneath the fear, but knowing it emotionally and hearing it confirmed by a physician were different things. Dr. Brooks printed several images. Would you like the father to return? Avery looked at the closed door. Yes. Cole entered seconds after the doctor called him. He crossed the room and stopped beside the examination table. The heartbeat filled the silence. Cole stared at the monitor. His face lost every trace of calculation. Avery had never seen him look that way. Not during their wedding. Not when she said she loved him. Not when he closed deals worth millions. He looked stunned by the existence of something he could not command. That is her, he asked. Dr. Brooks smiled. That is your daughter. Cole's eyes moved to Avery. She looked back at the screen. The baby lifted one hand toward her face. Avery felt Cole's fingers touch the edge of the table. He did not reach for her. Dr. Brooks continued taking measurements. Have you chosen a name? Avery answered before Cole could speak. Rose. The room became quiet again. Rose Cole repeated. My grandmother's name. Rose Mercer. Avery turned her head. Rose Lane. Cole's expression shifted. Dr. Brooks pretended to focus on the screen. Avery waited for Cole to argue. He did not. Not in front of the doctor. After the appointment, the ultrasound photographs lay on the desk in Cole's study. Avery stood near the fireplace. Cole remained behind the desk, one hand resting beside the images. 28 weeks, he said. Yes. Which means she was conceived before you left. Avery folded her arms. Yes. There is no possibility Bennett is her father. No. Cole looked down at the ultrasound. Avery expected satisfaction. Instead, she saw something closer to pain. You knew. I suspected. You let me think another man might be her father. I let you ask a question I was not ready to answer. You let me believe he had taken my place. No one took your place, Cole. I left it empty because I did not want anyone standing there. His gaze hardened. He touched what was mine. Avery crossed the room so quickly that the chair beside her struck the floor. I am not yours. Cole stood. My wife. That does not make the sentence better. His breathing changed. It was the only sign that she had struck something vulnerable. Avery pointed toward the locked elevator beyond the study. You want to know why I hid her from you? Look around. Cole followed her gesture. I was afraid you would use her to force me back. She is my child. She is not a chain. I would never take her from you. You took everyone else. The words settled between them. Cole looked away first. Avery noticed. That small movement frightened her more than anger. It meant he knew she was right. She lowered her voice. You removed Noah. You controlled my phone. You watched my apartment. You bought the building where I worked. You arranged my doctor before I even agreed to stay. You call all of that protection because the other word would make you sound like the man I saw in the warehouse. Cole's eyes returned to her. What word possession? He moved around the desk. Avery held her ground. The world outside these walls does not care whether you feel free, he said. Mason Rourke would cut that child from you if he thought it would make me kneel. Avery's stomach turned. Cole saw it and stopped. His voice softened. I am not trying to frighten you. You are very good at it. I am trying to make you understand. I understand that a man may be hunting me. I also understand that you watched it happen because you thought fear would bring me back. No. Then why did you leave me alone for 4 months? Cole walked toward the windows. For several seconds, the only sound came from the fire behind Avery. When you first left, I searched everywhere, he said. Every bus station, shelter, hospital, hotel, and airport within 500 miles. Avery said nothing. I found you after 2 months. Her chest tightened. You said 4. I began direct surveillance after 4. Before that, I watched from a distance. You knew where I was almost the entire time. Yes. Why did you not come for me? Cole looked out over the city. Because you looked afraid every time a black car stopped near your apartment. Avery could not speak. I thought distance might change what you saw when you looked at me. It did not. I know. The answer carried no defense. Avery looked at the man reflected in the glass. His posture remained perfect. His voice remained controlled. Yet for one moment he looked like someone standing outside a locked door with no idea how to enter. Why, Sloane, Avery asked. Cole turned. The Whitaker family controls people I needed. For what? To prevent a war. You expected me to believe the engagement was business. It was. You were discussing a honeymoon. The conversation was for the benefit of the room. Avery remembered Sloane's laughter, the diamond Cole's hand over hers. You touched her. I have shaken hands with men I later killed. That is not comforting. It was not meant to be. Cole stepped closer. The engagement gave the Whitakers influence within my organization. In return, they kept Mason from buying judges, union officials, and police commanders who already belonged to them. People do not belong to people. In my world, everyone belongs to someone. Avery looked at him. That is exactly why I left. His face tightened. You were never part of the arrangement with Sloane. You still lied to her. She understood the purpose. She understood you were using her. That is not the same thing. Cole reached toward Avery's face. His hand stopped before touching her. The arrangement ended the moment I saw you at Halcyon. Avery almost laughed. You do not get credit for choosing your pregnant wife after being caught. I am not asking for credit. What are you asking for? His eyes held hers. My family. Avery stepped back. You do not know how to have one. Pain flashed across his face. This time it remained long enough for her to be certain. That night, Avery woke from a dream of the warehouse. Victor Rourke was kneeling beneath the hanging light. Only when he lifted his head, he had Noah's face. A gunshot filled the room. Avery woke with her hand pressed over her mouth. The bedroom was dark. Rain tapped softly against the windows. She listened for movement. Nothing. Then she noticed a shadow beneath the door. Someone was sitting in the hallway. Avery crossed the room and opened the door. Cole sat on the floor with his back against the wall. His suit jacket was gone. His sleeves were rolled to his forearms. A glass of water rested beside him. He looked up. What are you doing? You were crying. You were listening. I was walking past. At 3 a.m. I do not sleep much. Avery held the door partly closed. You could have knocked. You would not have opened it. You are probably right. Cole looked toward the dark guest room. Was it the warehouse? Avery's fingers tightened around the door. Yes. He lowered his gaze. For once, he did not say Victor deserved what happened. He did not explain betrayal, survival, or consequences. He simply sat there. You should go, Avery said. I will stay outside. That is not what I said. No. Avery almost closed the door. Then the baby moved sharply. She inhaled. Cole noticed. Are you in pain? No. She kicked. He remained still. Avery remembered his face during the ultrasound. Against every warning inside her, she opened the door wider. You can sit in the chair. Cole entered slowly. He chose the chair farthest from the bed. Avery climbed beneath the covers and kept the lamp on. For several minutes, neither spoke. Then Cole said, "My father locked my mother inside our house for 3 years." Avery looked at him. "He called it protection," Cole continued. "She called it marriage." Avery felt the air leave her lungs. "How old were you 12 when it began? Did she leave?" "She tried. What happened?" Cole's face became unreadable. "She died before she succeeded." Avery waited. He offered nothing else. "You became him," she said quietly. Cole looked at the floor. "I know." The admission shocked her. No defense, no correction, no anger, only the truth. Avery studied him. "If you know, why are you doing this?" "Because when I imagine that door open and you on the other side of it, I see Mason finding you first. That does not give you the right to decide everything." "No." "Then stop." Cole raised his eyes. "I do not know how." Avery swallowed. "Learn." The word remained between them. Cole stayed in the chair until she fell asleep. When Avery woke at sunrise, he was gone. The door remained unlocked. Later that morning, Avery waited until Nora entered the laundry room. A security guard stood outside the kitchen with his jacket draped over the back of a chair. Avery walked past him carrying a cup of tea. She stumbled deliberately. The cup struck the carpet. The guard moved to help her. While he reached for the fallen cup, Avery slipped the keycard from his jacket pocket. She apologized, returned to her room, and waited 20 minutes. The card opened the linen closets and the service pantry. It did not open the elevator. It did, however, open Cole's study. Avery entered and closed the door behind her. The room smelled of cedar paper and the faint trace of his cologne. His laptop required a password. The desk drawers were locked. Avery searched the bookshelves, cabinets, and the underside of the desk. Behind a framed photograph from their wedding, she found a small biometric safe. The keycard opened it. Inside were surveillance photographs. Avery leaving her apartment. Avery walking to Halcyon. Avery at the clinic. Avery buying groceries. Avery sitting alone in a park with one hand over her stomach. Her life had been documented from a distance. Beneath the photographs lay 3 passports. One belonged to Cole under another name. One showed Avery's face beside the name Anna Carter. The third had no photograph yet. A child's passport. Avery felt sick. She found property documents for an estate outside Bozeman, Montana. Medical equipment, a private runway, security housing, a nursery already designed. At the bottom of the safe lay a black folder. 2 words were printed across the front. Black Winter. Inside were financial transfers, building plans, photographs of Mason Rourke, and a picture of Grant Keller meeting him outside a warehouse. Avery stared at the photograph. Grant had stood beside Cole since before their marriage. He had driven them from the church after their wedding. He had carried Avery into the penthouse when she broke her ankle. Cole trusted him more than anyone. The study door opened. Avery turned. Cole stood in the doorway. His gaze moved from the open safe to the folder in her hands. Avery expected fury. He closed the door quietly. "What is Black Winter?" Cole walked toward her. "Insurance. Against whom?" "Everyone." She held up the child's passport. "You prepared this before you knew Rose was yours. I knew there was a possibility. You prepared to take me out of the country." "Montana is not another country. You prepared to erase us." Cole stopped across the desk. "Close the folder. Does your insurance include me?" He did not answer. Avery lifted Grant's photograph. "Is he betraying you?" Cole's eyes remained on hers. "Put it down. Tell me the truth." A chime sounded through the penthouse. Cole looked toward the door. Nora's voice came through the intercom. "Mr. Mercer, Miss Whitaker is here." Sloane entered the study several minutes later. She wore a long black coat and no engagement ring. Her gaze settled on the open safe. "I see she found it." Cole's expression turned cold. You should not be here. I have no intention of staying. Sloane looked at Avery. I need to speak with you alone. No, Cole said. Avery closed the black winter folder. Yes. Cole's jaw tightened. Avery faced him. You wanted me to learn another way to see you. Start by leaving the room. For several seconds he did not move. Then he looked at Sloane. 5 minutes. Sloane waited until the door closed. He gives orders even when he is obeying. Avery held up the false passport. What is this, an exit? For whom? Cole, his trusted people, you. Why? Sloane removed her coat. Because your husband has been moving money weapons and personnel out of Chicago for months. He said he was preventing a war. He is. How? By making certain there is nothing left to fight over. Avery looked down at the black winter file. Sloane stepped closer. The dinner at Halcyon was supposed to end our engagement in public. Cole needed the Whitakers to appear offended enough to withdraw from him. You knew I would be there. No. Avery looked up. Sloane's face was calm, but the hurt beneath it remained real. I knew Cole had found a reason to end the alliance. I did not know the reason was his pregnant wife, so your reaction was real. Every humiliating second of it. Why help him? Because my family believes Cole is preparing to lose control of Chicago. They intend to survive whichever man replaces him. Mason Rourke, or someone worse. Avery looked toward the closed door. What is Cole planning? Sloane's eyes settled on the passports. He is not preparing to win. Then what? He is preparing to disappear. The answer made every object in the safe feel heavier. The Montana estate, the false identities, the child's passport, the carefully staged dinner, the photograph of Grant meeting Mason. Avery closed the folder. Why tell me Sloane picked up her coat? Because Cole does not lie for pleasure. He lies because he believes truth is a privilege he can distribute. She moved toward the door. And because if he takes you with him, you should understand that a new address does not make a prison less secure. After Sloane left, Avery returned to the safe. The black winter folder was gone. Cole had removed it while Sloane spoke to Nora in the hall. The passports remained. Avery reached beneath them and found a slim black phone taped to the bottom of the safe. The screen lit when she touched it. One message appeared. Answer when it rings. The phone vibrated almost immediately. Avery looked toward the study door. Then she answered. A man's voice spoke. Avery Mercer. She held the phone tightly. Who is this Mason Rourke? Her blood turned cold. How did you get this number? It belonged to someone Cole trusted. Avery looked at Grant's photograph still lying on the desk. What do you want? To tell you something your husband will not. About Noah. A pause. Then Mason said, Dr. Bennett is alive. Avery closed her eyes. For now. Her grip tightened. Let me speak to him. You will. When you bring me the black winter file. Avery looked toward the door as footsteps approached the study. Mason's voice lowered. Cole Mercer did not bring you home to save you, Avery. He brought you home because he needs you for the last move of his war. The call ended. The study door began to open. Avery slipped the black phone beneath the false passports and closed the safe with one hand. Cole entered carrying a glass of water. His gaze moved from Avery to the desk, then to the photograph of Grant Keller meeting Mason Rourke. He placed the glass in front of her. What did Sloane tell you that you are planning to disappear? Cole did not react. She talks too much. She said you are moving money and people out of Chicago. She said what she believes. Avery studied his face. What do you believe? Cole glanced at the closed safe. That you should not be standing in my study alone when someone is hunting you. There are guards outside every door. Guards can be bought. Even yours. His eyes returned to Grant's photograph. Yes, Avery waited for him to ask whether she had found the hidden phone. He did not. That frightened her. Cole noticed everything: the position of a chair, a missing file, a change in someone's breathing. If he knew the phone was there, he was letting her keep it. If he did not know, someone inside the penthouse had placed it without his permission. Neither possibility made her feel safer. Cole reached for the photograph. Avery covered it with her hand. "Is Grant working with Mason Cole?" Looked at her fingers. "Move your hand." "No." His expression cooled. Avery held her ground. "Tell me who I am trapped in here with." "You are not trapped with Grant." "That is not an answer." Cole stepped closer. "He has served me for 14 years. So you trust him. I trust what I can verify." "That sounds like no. It sounds like experience." Avery pulled the photograph away before Cole could take it. "Did he tell Mason where I lived?" Cole's silence gave her more than an answer would have. Her stomach tightened. "You knew someone close to you betrayed me. I knew information had been exposed, and you still watched from a distance. I had men near you at all times, men I never saw. That was the point. The point failed." Cole placed both palms against the desk. "Yes." The word came without defense. Avery had prepared herself for another explanation, another argument about survival. His admission unsettled her more. Cole looked at the water. "Drink." "I am not thirsty. You have been standing for too long. I am not one of your employees." "No. Employees are easier." The answer almost sounded like the man she once knew. Almost. Avery picked up the glass, not because he ordered her to, but because Rose had been restless since Mason's call. Cole watched until she drank. Then he said, "Grant is being handled. What does that mean?" "It means he will never betray me again." Avery lowered the glass. "Did you kill him?" Cole's face became unreadable. "I did what was necessary." She looked again at the photograph. Grant had been at their wedding. He had carried Cole out of a burning car after an ambush on the south side. He had once spent Christmas Eve outside Avery's mother's house because Cole received a threat and refused to tell anyone. Grant had seemed permanent. In Cole's world, permanence lasted only until suspicion. Avery set the photograph down. "You say things like that because you want me to be afraid of what happens when people disobey you." Cole stood very still. "I say things like that because people who betray me create graves for everyone around them." "Then tell me the truth before someone else does." His eyes sharpened. What did Sloane say about Grant? Nothing. It was not a lie. Sloane had warned her about Cole, not Grant. Cole watched Avery for several seconds. Then he moved around the desk and opened the study door. "You need rest. I need answers. You need to keep your blood pressure down. Do not use Rose to silence me." His jaw tightened. "I am trying to keep both of you alive, and I am trying to understand why every man who claims to save me needs me to be powerless first." The word stopped him. Avery expected anger. Instead, Cole looked tired. "I will tell you what you need to know when I can verify it. That means when the truth becomes useful to you. It means when the truth will not get you killed." He left the study. Avery waited until his footsteps faded. Then she opened the safe again. The black phone was still there. No new message appeared. She carried it beneath her sweater to the guest room and locked the door. For the next hour, she tried to understand what Mason wanted. The Black Winter file contained enough financial information to damage Cole. It also contained building plans, routes, names, and properties connected to the exit strategy Sloane had described. Mason could use it to destroy Cole, or Cole could be using the file to draw Mason into the open. Avery placed the phone on the bed. Mason had said Noah was alive. That could be true. It could also be the exact lie required to make her cooperate. She thought of Noah outside the emergency room, kneeling beside her on wet pavement. Look at me, Avery. You are here. You are breathing. No one is touching you. He had repeated those words until the panic loosened its grip. Noah had not saved her with money power or locked doors. He had sat beside her and asked what she wanted. That simple act now seemed more intimate than anything Cole had ever given her. The phone vibrated. A single message appeared. Tomorrow, 10 in the morning. Terrace. Avery deleted it. At 9:50 the next morning, she carried a cup of tea toward the glass doors overlooking Lake Michigan. Nora stood near the kitchen island reviewing a list on a tablet. "I need air," Avery said. Nora looked toward the terrace. "It is cold. I have a coat. Mr. Mercer asked that you remain inside. He is not here. That does not make the request less important." Avery set down the tea. "Dr. Brooks said walking would help my circulation." Nora studied her. Avery met her gaze without blinking. Finally, Nora touched the security panel beside the doors. The locks released. 10 minutes. Avery stepped outside. Wind swept across the terrace and pulled at her coat. The city spread beneath her in shades of steel and blue. The lake looked endless. She walked toward the stone wall and placed both hands against it. The black phone vibrated inside her sleeve. She answered without turning. "Let me speak to Noah." Mason's voice came through clearly. "You have the file." "Let me speak to him." A pause. Then another voice filled the line. "Avery." Her knees nearly gave way. "Noah." His breathing sounded shallow. "Avery, listen to me. Are you hurt? I am alive. Where are you? I do not know. Some warehouse." A man spoke in the background. Noah continued quickly. "They want Cole. Do not give them anything." The phone shifted. Avery heard a strike followed by Noah's breath leaving him. "Noah," Mason returned. "He has courage. I will give him that. If you hurt him, you get nothing. I have already hurt him." Avery gripped the stone wall. "What do you want from Black Winter Root's accounts and the names Cole intends to take with him?" "Why? Because Cole believes he can burn Chicago and walk away clean. You want his empire. I want my brother's blood answered. Victor betrayed him." Mason laughed softly. "That is what Cole told you. I saw what happened. You saw the end. You did not see the beginning." Avery looked toward the terrace doors. Nora stood inside, pretending not to watch. Mason lowered his voice. "Victor discovered that Cole was moving money out of the organization. He thought Cole planned to leave his own people exposed. He went to federal agents because he believed prison was better than a grave. Victor sold names. He tried to stop Black Winter before it started." Avery remembered the terror in Victor's face. She remembered Cole saying that Victor had sold men who trusted him. Both versions could be true. "Why should I believe you?" "You should not. You should verify me." "How?" "Ask Cole. Why the operation maps place more importance on moving his accountants than rescuing your doctor." The line went silent for a moment. Then Mason said, "He did not bring you home because you were in danger. He brought you home because your disappearance is the final piece of his death." "What does that mean?" "You will understand soon." The call ended. Avery slipped the phone back into her sleeve. Rose moved sharply. Avery pressed one hand over her stomach. Nora opened the terrace door. "Time." Avery returned inside. Nora watched her face. "Are you unwell?" "No. You are pale. The wind is cold." Nora's eyes moved to Avery's sleeve. For 1 second, Avery thought she had seen the phone. Then Nora turned away. "Dr. Brooks will be here this afternoon. I was not told about an appointment. Mr. Mercer requested another examination. Why he worries. He controls." Nora stopped. "Those are not always the same thing. Here they are." Nora looked at her. "You think choice is the opposite of captivity. It is. Not when every available choice was created by someone else. Avery stared at her. Is that supposed to defend him? No, it is supposed to prepare you for what Nora returned to the kitchen, for understanding that a locked door is not the only kind of cage. Cole returned shortly after noon. He entered the penthouse with 2 security men and removed his coat without speaking. Something had changed. His movements were calm, but the guards around him were not. Avery watched one man whisper into a radio. Another checked the windows. Cole saw her standing near the staircase. Come with me. No. His eyes narrowed. Avery crossed her arms. You do not get to walk in here, issue a command, and expect me to follow. This is not the time. Then tell me what happened. Cole looked toward the guards. Clear the room. Everyone left except Nora. Cole looked at her. Nora. She followed the guards into the hall. When the doors closed, Cole turned to Avery. Mason contacted you. Avery felt her heartbeat change. She said nothing. Cole stepped closer. Where is the phone? What phone? The one Grant hid in my safe. Avery's stomach dropped. You knew. I found the transmitter after you left the study, and you let me answer it. I needed Mason to believe the line was secure. Rage moved through her. You used me. I listened to the call. Avery pulled the phone from her sleeve and threw it onto the table. You listened while Noah was hurt. I confirmed he is alive. You could have traced him. We did. Avery stopped. Where is he? In an industrial building near the river. Then go get him. Cole looked at her. That is what Mason expects. I do not care. I do. Noah is there because of me. Noah is there because Mason needed leverage. And you gave him the opportunity by threatening Noah out of Chicago. Cole's face hardened. I moved Bennett away from you. You made him visible. I gave him protection. You gave him money. That is not protection. It is the form most people understand. Noah understood fear because you taught it to him. Cole moved closer. He became involved with another man's wife. He helped a terrified woman who collapsed outside a hospital. He wanted more than gratitude. Maybe he did. Maybe he did not. It was my decision to make. Cole's hands closed at his sides. Avery saw the jealousy before he buried it. You still think this is about another man touching me? She said. Noah is bleeding in a warehouse and you are angry because he cared about me without asking your permission. Cole looked away. That was answer enough. Avery picked up the black phone. Mason wants Black Winter. He will not get it. What is in the file? An exit strategy. For whom? For everyone still loyal to me. Victor thought you were abandoning them. Cole's gaze snapped back to her. Mason said that. Yes. And you believed him. I believed he knew something you were hiding. Cole walked toward the windows. Victor found partial financial transfers. He assumed I was emptying the organization. Were you? I was moving assets beyond the reach of men preparing to attack us. That sounds like the same thing. It is not. Then show me. Cole turned. What? Show me the operation. No. Avery took the phone and moved toward the terrace. Cole reached her before she touched the doors. He did not grab her. He stood between her and the panel. I will call Mason, she said. I will tell him I have the file. You will do no such thing. You cannot stop me from caring whether Noah lives. I can stop you from handing Mason the information he needs to kill hundreds of people. You could be lying. Yes. The answer shocked her. Cole continued. I could lie to you. Mason could lie to you. Noah could tell you whatever a gun makes him say. Then let me see the evidence. No. Avery held his gaze. Move. No. She stepped closer until only a few inches separated them. "You think motherhood made me weak?" Cole's expression changed. "No. You brought me here because you believed fear would make me obedient. I brought you here because Mason had men outside your workplace. You built this cage because fear makes people predictable. Yes. Then you have never understood me." Something flashed behind his eyes. Avery pressed the black phone against his chest. "I will not sit in a locked room while someone else pays for knowing me. You are not going near Mason. Then include me." Cole stared at her. "In what?" "The plan to get Noah." "No. I know Mason's voice. I know what he asked for. He believes I can reach Black Winter. He believes correctly. Then use that." Cole stepped back. "You are pregnant. I am not helpless. You are carrying my daughter. I am carrying my daughter. You are not permitted to turn her into a reason I disappear." The words struck the center of him. Avery saw it. Cole looked toward the black phone in her hand. "If I include you, you follow every instruction." "No." His eyes hardened. "I do not negotiate security. Then you do not get my cooperation. You think this is a partnership? It becomes one now." They stood in silence. The city moved beyond the windows. Cole finally said, "What do you want?" "The truth. You cannot have all of it. Then start with Noah." Cole walked to the study. Avery followed. He entered a code into the laptop and opened a series of maps. One showed the industrial district near the river. A red marker identified an abandoned printing plant. Another displayed vehicle routes through the west side. A third showed a private airfield outside the city. Avery leaned closer. "Why is the airfield part of a rescue operation?" Cole did not answer. She turned. Mason was right. "About what you care more about moving your people than rescuing Noah." The two operations overlap. How Cole opened another file. Photographs appeared of Mason's men loading weapons into trucks. Avery recognized one face from the alley behind Halcyon. Cole pointed to the screen. "Mason plans to attack multiple properties at once. The printing plant is bait. If I send men for Bennett, Mason strikes here." "The penthouse." "Yes. Why? To take you." Avery looked at the map. A series of blue routes led away from the city. "Those are evacuation routes." "Yes." To Montana, Cole closed the screen. "That is enough." "No." Avery reached for the laptop. Cole caught her wrist. The contact was gentle but immediate. She looked down at his hand. Cole released her. Avery rubbed the skin where his fingers had been. "You promised not to force me." "I promised nothing. You said you wanted your family." "I do." "Then act like I am part of it." Cole turned away. For several seconds he said nothing. Then he reopened the map. Grant planted the phone in the safe. Avery looked at him. "You said he was being handled." "He is. Is he dead?" Cole's face became still. "He is no longer inside this building." "That is not an answer." "It is the answer you are getting." Avery saw something strange in his eyes. Not grief. Not betrayal. Calculation. She looked at Grant's photograph again. "You knew he met Mason." "Yes. And you let it happen." Cole closed the file. "Grant is part of an operation you do not need to understand." "Then why make me think he betrayed you? I did not. You said he would never betray you again." "That statement remains true." Avery stared at him. Cole had allowed her imagination to supply the death. He had not corrected it because fear served him. The realization was almost worse than a lie. "You wanted me to believe you killed your closest friend. I wanted you to stop asking about him. You use silence like a weapon. It is often more effective than speech. Avery looked at the man she had once trusted with every part of herself. You do not know the difference between protecting someone and controlling what they are allowed to know. No, Cole said. I know the difference. I simply choose control when the alternative is burying you. A sharp pain tightened across Avery's stomach. She inhaled. Cole's face changed instantly. What is wrong? Nothing. The pain came again. Avery gripped the edge of the desk. Cole was beside her in a second. Avery, I said I am fine. You are not. He lifted her before she could protest. Put me down. Cole carried her toward the bedroom. Call Dr. Brooks, he shouted. Nora appeared in the hall and immediately reached for her phone. Avery held one arm around Cole's neck despite her anger. Another wave of pain moved across her abdomen. Fear swallowed every argument. Rose. Cole looked down at her. She is safe. You do not know that. She is safe. His voice shook. Avery had never heard that before. Cole Mercer sounded afraid. Doctor. Brooks arrived within 15 minutes. The pain was caused by stress and dehydration, not early labor. Rose's heartbeat remained strong. Avery lay against the pillows while the doctor packed her equipment. You need rest, Dr. Brooks said. Real rest, not physical stillness while your mind remains in crisis. Avery glanced toward Cole. He stood near the window with his hands in his pockets. The doctor followed her gaze. Stress does not disappear because no one discusses it. Cole looked at the floor. After Dr. Brooks left, he remained in the room. Avery closed her eyes. You can go. No, I am not going anywhere. I know. Then why are you standing there? Cole looked toward her stomach. Because I almost lost both of you before I had either of you back. Avery opened her eyes. You cannot keep using fear to justify everything. I watched you fold over in pain, and I watched a man beg for his life while you decided he no longer deserved one. Cole flinched. Avery continued. If you love Rose, you cannot raise her to believe love means fear. I will teach her that no one can ever make her afraid. That is not the same thing. Cole sat in the chair beside the bed. Avery watched him. For once, he had no answer. The room remained quiet until the baby moved. Cole looked at Avery's stomach. He did not reach for her. Avery took his hand and placed it over the movement. The gesture surprised both of them. Cole's fingers spread carefully. Rose kicked again. His eyes closed. Avery saw the man beneath the power, the boy who had watched his mother disappear behind locked doors, the husband who had become the thing he hated because it was the only model of protection he understood. She removed his hand. The moment ended. Noah comes home, she said. Cole looked at her. He comes home alive. Mia is protected. I keep my passport and my own money. Rose does not inherit your organization. You do not choose my doctor's friends or movements without speaking to me. Cole's expression cooled as each condition landed. You are negotiating while confined to bed. I learned from you. You are asking for freedoms that could expose you. I am telling you the price of my cooperation. Cole stood. What cooperation I will call Mason. I will offer the file. No, you said he believes I can access Black Winter. He does. Then he will listen to me. He will use you. So will you. Cole's face hardened. Avery held his gaze. The difference is that I know you. For a long moment, neither spoke. Cole finally said Noah comes home if he is still alive. Mia receives protection. You receive documents and independent funds. Rose will never be part of the organization. And the rest, we discuss them when this is over. That is not agreement. It is more than anyone else has ever received. I am not anyone else. Cole looked at her. "No," he said quietly. "You are not." The call to Mason took place that evening. Cole's men traced the line while Avery sat in the study with the black phone pressed to her ear. Cole stood behind her close enough that she could feel his presence, but he did not touch her. Mason answered after 2 rings. "You found the file." "I did. You read it enough. Then you understand Cole plans to leave everyone behind." Avery looked at the false documents Cole had prepared on the laptop. "I understand that he plans to move money through 3 accounts and send his senior people through the private airfield." Cole pointed to the next line she was supposed to read. Avery ignored it. "I also understand you have Noah." Cole's jaw tightened. Mason laughed. "You care for him. He helped me when no one else did." Cole looked away. "Send me the file," Mason said. "I want proof Noah is alive." "You heard him. I want to see him." Silence. Then Mason said, "Tomorrow night. The printing plant." "No." Cole's eyes sharpened. Avery continued, "I am not walking into your building. You are in no position to negotiate. I have Black Winter." Another pause. "What do you propose I upload half the file?" "You release Noah. I send the rest when he is safe." Mason breathed slowly into the phone. "Cole taught you well. He taught me not to trust men who say they are protecting me." Mason laughed again. "Midnight tomorrow." The call ended. Cole took the phone from her. "You changed the terms." He accepted them. "He expects a trap." "So do we." Cole studied her. "You are good at this. You never gave me the chance to be anything but protected." His hand rested near hers on the desk. For a moment, the distance between them felt smaller. Not because she trusted him, because they had finally occupied the same side of a decision. At 11:40 the next night, the penthouse lights flickered. A soft alarm sounded in the ceiling. Cole looked up from the study monitors. Grant's false transfer had begun. Avery sat beside him with the black phone in front of her. The first half of the fabricated Black Winter file moved across the secure connection. Cole's security team waited throughout the building. Nora stood near the study door with a pistol beneath her jacket. Avery watched the progress bar reach 70%. Then the screen went black. Every light in the penthouse died. Emergency lighting filled the room with a dull red glow. A loud impact shook the floor. Glass broke somewhere below them. Cole rose. Gunfire erupted in the lobby. Avery stood too quickly. Cole caught her arm. "Stay with Nora. Noah is at the printing plant." "No." She stared at him. "What do you mean?" Cole checked the weapon at his side. The signal came from inside the building. Another explosion shook the windows. Nora moved toward Avery. "We need to go." Avery looked at Cole. As this Mason Cole's face became perfectly calm. "No." Her blood turned cold. "Then who is attacking us?" Cole looked toward the dark hallway where his men were taking positions. "The men who need to believe they are." Nora pulled Avery toward the hidden passage behind the study. The steel safe room door began to close. Avery kept her eyes on Cole until only a narrow line remained between them. Then the door sealed and the first security monitor filled with men carrying rifles through the burning lobby. The first security monitor filled with men carrying rifles through the burning lobby. Avery stood frozen in the center of the safe room as the steel door sealed behind her. The sound disappeared first. One moment gunfire had shaken the walls. Glass had shattered somewhere below. Men had shouted through the halls. Then the door closed and everything became silent. The room was larger than Avery expected. Gray reinforced walls surrounded a narrow table. 2 chairs, shelves of food, medical supplies, bottled water, and enough weapons to defend a small building. 6 monitors covered the far wall. Each showed a different part of the tower. The lobby, the private elevator, the service corridors, the penthouse entrance, the stairwells, the garage. Nora crossed the room and opened a cabinet beneath the monitors. She removed a pistol, checked the magazine, then placed another weapon on the table. Her hands were steady. Avery stared at her. You knew this was going to happen. Nora did not look away from the screens. I knew an attack was possible. That is not what I said. On the first monitor, 3 armed men moved past the reception desk. One stepped over a security guard lying near the elevators. Blood spread across the marble floor. Avery pressed one hand over her stomach. Rose moved beneath her palm. Nora, sit down. Tell me the truth. You need to remain calm. There are bodies in the lobby, which is why you need to sit. Avery did not move. Red emergency lights flashed across the screens. Smoke drifted along the ceiling of the main corridor. Cole's men took positions behind marble columns and overturned furniture. Then Cole appeared on the 4th monitor. He wore a black shirt with the sleeves rolled to his elbows. His jacket was gone. A pistol rested in each hand. He moved through the hallway with terrifying ease. No hesitation, no wasted motion. He fired twice. A man near the elevator dropped. Cole turned before the body reached the floor. Avery felt the warehouse return inside her. The hanging light. Victor Rourke on his knees. Cole standing clean and calm while violence unfolded around him. Only now Cole was not watching. He was leading. One of his guards approached from the side and said something Avery could not hear. Cole pointed toward the south stairwell. 4 men moved immediately. Avery looked at Nora. How many people are attacking the building? 20, perhaps more. How many men does Cole have enough? That is not a number. It is the only answer that matters. Gunfire flashed across the lobby monitor. A man fell behind the concierge desk. Avery looked away. Noah is somewhere in this building. Nora's expression did not change. We do not know that. The signal came from inside. The signal may have been redirected. Cole said Noah was not at the printing plant. He said the signal came from inside the building. Avery turned toward her. You heard him? Yes. Then you know he has been lying about where Noah is. Nora checked the lock on the safe room door. Mr. Mercer withholds information when he believes it creates risk. He withholds information whenever the truth threatens his control. That may also be true. The admission stopped Avery. Nora looked at the screens. I have served this family for 18 years. I am not confused about the man I work for. Then why stay? Because monsters do not disappear when good people refuse to look at them. Avery followed her gaze. Cole stepped around a corner and dragged one of his wounded guards behind cover. He pressed a hand against the man's neck, shouted instructions, then returned to the fight. Nora continued. Sometimes the only choice is which monster stands between you and the door. Avery looked at her. I do not want Rose growing up believing that. Then teach her something different. Another explosion shook the room. Dust fell from the ceiling. Avery grabbed the edge of the table. Nora reached toward her. I am fine. You are shaking. The building is being attacked. The room can withstand a direct blast from the corridor. That does not make me feel better. It was not intended to. Avery turned back to the monitors. Cole and his men retreated from the main hallway. The attackers advanced. At first, the movement looked chaotic. Then Avery noticed the pattern. Cole's men did not run. They fell back at exact intervals. 2 men covered each doorway while the others moved. Every retreat opened a path toward the study. The attackers avoided the east corridor completely. They did not check the guest rooms. They did not fire toward the hidden entrance of the safe room. Avery moved closer to the screens. Why are they all going toward the study? Nora said nothing. Why are they not searching for me? They may believe you are elsewhere. Mason attacked this building to take me. That was our assumption. Avery pointed toward the second monitor. Those men are passing every room where I could be hiding. Nora's grip tightened around her pistol. Avery looked at the wounded guard in the lobby. He moved, slowly. His hand rose toward his shoulder. There was no visible blood beneath him. The dark liquid spreading across the marble came from a broken container near the desk. Avery leaned closer. "He is not dead?" Nora remained silent. On another screen, one of Cole's men fired toward the ceiling. The attacker across from him dropped before the shot. No impact struck his body. No blood appeared. Avery felt cold move through her. "They are using blanks. Some of them." Nora's answer came too late. Avery turned. "You knew." "I knew parts of the operation." "What parts?" "My responsibility is you and the child. What is happening outside that door?" Nora did not answer. Avery looked at the pistol in her hand. For the first time, she understood that Nora had not been placed inside the room to protect her from the men outside. Nora was there to keep Avery inside until Cole finished whatever he had begun. "You are not my protector." Nora met her gaze. "No." The honesty hurt more than another lie. "You are my guard. I am both. You cannot be both. In this house, they have always been the same." Avery backed toward the monitors. Rose moved again, stronger this time. Avery pressed her palm to the curve of her stomach. She forced herself to breathe. No panic. No collapse. She would not let Cole decide she was too frightened to understand. On the fourth screen, a man entered the hallway leading to the study. Tall, broad shoulders, dark hair cut close at the sides. Avery recognized his walk before she saw his face. Grant Keller. Alive. Uninjured. He carried no weapon. 4 men wearing Mason's colors followed him. Avery stared at the screen. "Nora." Nora looked. The color left her face. Grant stopped outside the study doors. Cole appeared from the opposite corridor. Neither man raised a weapon. For 1 second, they faced each other. Then Grant smiled. Cole embraced him, not like enemies, like brothers meeting after a long separation. The armed men behind Grant lowered their rifles. Avery could not hear their conversation, but she did not need to. Grant had never betrayed Cole. Cole had never killed him. The photograph in the Black Winter file had not shown a secret meeting. It had shown part of the plan. Avery looked at Nora. "Did you know he was alive?" Nora's silence answered. "You told me he was gone. I said he was no longer in the building. Cole made me think he killed him." Nora's face hardened. "Mr. Mercer chooses his words carefully. He uses my fear to fill in the spaces." Avery turned back to the screen. Cole handed Grant a folder. One of Mason's men removed his earpiece and placed it on the desk. Another opened a case filled with documents. This was not a siege. It was a transaction. Every explosion, every gunshot, every body in the lobby had been arranged to look like war. Avery moved to the control panel beside the door. "What are you doing?" "Opening it." "You cannot." Avery entered the code she had seen Cole use in the elevator. The panel flashed red. Nora stepped between her and the door. "Sit down. Move. I cannot allow you to leave. Because Cole ordered you." "Yes." Avery looked at the weapon in Nora's hand. "Would you shoot me? No. Then move. I would restrain you." The words entered the room softly. Avery believed them. She stepped back. "Does Cole know that is what you would do?" "He knows I will protect his family. I am not his family when he needs my trust. I become his family only when he needs control." Nora's expression shifted. "Do not mistake the method for the motive. They are connected. Not to him. That is the problem." Avery returned to the monitors. Grant and Cole moved deeper into the study. One of the armed men opened a hidden compartment in the wall. Inside were metal cases Avery had never seen. They began carrying them toward the service elevator. Money, records, weapons, perhaps all 3. The operation maps returned to her mind. The private airfield, the routes out of the city, the Montana property, false passports, a child's identity prepared before Rose had taken her first breath. Avery began fitting the pieces together. Cole was not surviving an attack. He was destroying the life of Cole Mercer. The armed men would leave evidence of a war. The building would burn. Bodies would be found. The Mercer organization would appear broken. Police and federal agents would believe Cole had been killed by Mason Rourke's forces. The remaining accounts would vanish. Trusted people would leave through private routes. Sloane's family would separate itself from the disaster. Cole would disappear with Avery and Rose, not because Mason had forced him to, because Cole had planned to become a ghost. A movement on the lobby monitor caught Avery's attention. 2 armed men entered carrying a third person between them. The captive wore hospital scrubs beneath an open coat. His head hung forward. Avery touched the screen. Noah. The men lifted his face. Bruising darkened one side of his jaw. His lip was split. His wrists were bound. He was alive. Avery ran to the control panel again. Open the door. Nora blocked her. They have Noah. I see him. He needs medical care. He will receive it. You knew he would be brought here. I knew there was a possibility. Avery looked at the screen. Noah stumbled. One of the men caught him before he fell. Why bring him into the building? Nora said nothing. Avery understood. He is a witness. Nora's gaze moved away. Cole needs someone outside the organization to support the story. No answer. Noah will tell the police that Mason took him, that Cole tried to rescue him, that the building was attacked. Nora remained silent. Avery looked again at Noah. Was his kidnapping real? Yes. Did Cole arrange it? No. Did Cole know Mason had him? Not at first. And when he found out, he changed the operation. Avery let out a bitter laugh. Of course he did. Every disaster became another part of Cole's design. Every person became useful. Victor's betrayal, Mason's revenge, Sloane's humiliation, Noah's kidnapping, Avery's pregnancy. Cole did not survive chaos. He arranged it until chaos served him. Noah was carried toward a side room. Avery could no longer see him. Open the door. No. If he dies while Cole is using him as evidence, I will never forgive either of you. Nora's voice softened. Mr. Mercer does not require forgiveness to act. No. He requires obedience. The lights in the safe room flickered. One monitor went black, then another. A warning tone sounded from the control panel. Nora stepped toward the system. What is happening? The external feed is being disconnected. By whom? Nora checked the panel. Avery watched the third monitor go dark, then the fourth. Grant disappeared from the screen. Cole vanished a second later. The lobby feed remained for several more seconds. Smoke covered the marble floor. Men moved bodies into position. One of them placed Cole's watch on the wrist of a man Avery did not recognize. The screen went black. Avery stopped breathing. Whose body was that? Nora did not answer. Whose body is wearing my husband's watch? The final monitor failed. The room became silent again. A heavy mechanism turned inside the wall. The steel door began to unlock. Nora raised her pistol. Not toward Avery. Toward the opening. The door moved inward. Smoke drifted through the gap. Cole stepped inside. There was soot across one side of his face. His shirt was open at the collar. A thin line of blood marked his forearm, but he showed no sign of pain. Grant entered behind him. Alive, calm, exactly as Avery had seen on the monitor. Cole looked first at Avery's face, then at her stomach. Are you hurt? She stared at him. No one betrayed you. Cole's expression became still. Several seconds passed. Then he looked at Nora. Leave us. Nora lowered the pistol. Mr. Mercer, check on Bennett. Nora nodded and left the room. Grant followed, closing the door behind him. Avery and Cole stood alone. The silence felt more violent than the gunfire. "You told me Grant would never betray you again. He will not. You wanted me to think you killed him. I needed you to stop asking questions that could expose the operation. You frightened me into silence." "Yes." The answer came without apology. Avery looked at the blood on his arm. "Is that real?" "Yes." "How much of anything I saw was real enough? Enough for whom? For the police. For Mason. For the men watching the tower. For every person who needs to believe Cole Mercer dies tonight." The words settled into place. Avery felt no surprise, only confirmation. Black winter. Cole nodded. The controlled collapse of the Mercer organization. You built a war so you could run. I built an ending, using bodies, using people who had already chosen their side. That is how you excuse it. I am not asking to be excused. Avery stepped closer. You brought me to Halcyon because Mason's men were watching me. Yes. But you also needed me to disappear with you. Yes. The engagement with Sloane was already ending. Yes. The dinner gave her family a public reason to leave the alliance. Yes. Grant was never a traitor. No. The file in your safe was bait. Partly. Noah's kidnapping was real. Yes. But once you found him, you turned him into part of the story. Cole did not answer. Avery's voice sharpened. Say it. Yes. She closed her eyes. Every truth felt like another locked door. What happens to Noah now? He receives medical care. He gives a statement. He enters protection. Your protection. Federal protection if he prefers. Can he refuse? Cole hesitated. Avery saw the answer. You were going to force him. I was going to ensure his survival. Those are not the same thing. They often are. To you. Cole took one step toward her. Avery stepped back. His face changed. He stopped. Noah was taken because of his connection to you, Cole said. Mason intended to use him until he was no longer useful. And you are different. Yes. How he is alive. Avery almost struck him. Cole saw it. He did not move. The fact that he would allow the blow only made her angrier. You think keeping someone alive gives you the right to decide what happens to them. When death is the alternative, yes. You do not offer choices. You offer survival and call it consent. Cole's expression hardened. Consent is a luxury in the middle of a war. You created the war. No, I decided how it would end. Avery looked toward the locked door. What happens now? We leave. Where, Montana? The word felt heavier after seeing it in the documents. The estate outside Bozeman. Yes. You already built a nursery. I prepared for every possibility. You prepared an identity for my daughter before asking what I wanted to name her. Cole's jaw tightened. The documents can be changed. That is not the point. I know. No. You know the facts. You do not understand the point. Cole looked at her for a long moment. Then explain it. Avery stared at him. She had spent months begging him to understand. Now he stood inside a hidden room beneath a burning home and asked as if understanding were another piece of information he could acquire. You planned our lives without us, she said. You decided where we would live, who we would become, how Rose would be born, which people would be allowed near us. You destroyed your organization and built another cage before I even knew it existed. The Montana estate has no locked interior doors. That does not make it freedom. It makes it safer. Safer than what, Chicago? Safer than you? Cole did not answer. Avery stepped closer. You say you burned everything down for us. I did. You burned it down so no one could take us from you. His eyes darkened. Yes, that is not the same thing. It is to me. The honesty landed harder than a lie. Cole continued. I could have remained here. I could have fought Mason for another 10 years. I could have rebuilt every route and replaced every man who died. Then why did you not? Because you were pregnant. Avery's hand moved over Rose. Cole looked at the gesture. The moment I learned about her, there was no organization worth preserving. You did not know about her until Halcyon. I knew there was a possibility before that night. The medical records. Yes. Avery felt sick. You knew. I knew you had missed appointments. I knew you purchased prenatal vitamins. I knew you changed your uniform size. You watched me. Yes. And still you waited. Because Mason's surveillance team had not identified you. Until they did. Until Grant confirmed they had. Avery looked toward the door. Grant was inside Mason's organization. For 3 months. The meeting in the photograph. Part of his cover. Victor knew about Black Winter. Only part of it. Mason said Victor went to federal agents because he believed you were abandoning your people. Cole's expression cooled. Victor went to federal agents because Mason ordered him to. You cannot prove that. I can. Then why did you torture him? The question entered the room like a blade. Cole looked away. Avery felt the answer before he gave it. Because I needed the names he had given them. You already knew Mason was behind him. I suspected. You killed a man for information you might already have had. I killed a man who sold 37 people to save himself. Did all 37 deserve what happened? No. The admission silenced her. Cole looked toward the floor. Some were drivers, accountants, men who had families and no knowledge of the larger operation. They were arrested. 2 were killed before trial. Avery studied him. There was no pride in his face, only certainty. You still believe Victor deserved to die? Yes. Then nothing changed. Everything changed. How I am ending it. You are relocating it. No. Cole moved to the table and placed both hands against the metal surface. The accounts are closed. The routes are gone. The warehouses will burn. My political protection disappears tonight. The men leaving with us are security and household staff. No narcotics, no trafficking, no collections, no city contracts. Avery watched him. You expect me to believe Cole Mercer simply retires? No. What do you expect? That Cole Mercer dies, and the man who goes to Montana. His gaze met hers. He has no organization left to lead. He still has men who protect the estate. He still has money, enough to keep you and Rose safe. He still has the ability to control everyone around him. Cole became very still. Avery stepped closer. That is the empire you never planned to burn. Something changed in his face. Not anger. Recognition. Before he could answer, the safe room door opened. Grant entered with Noah beside him. Noah had been cleaned. A bandage covered one side of his forehead. His wrists were free, but bruises circled the skin. Avery crossed the room. Noah. He looked at her stomach first, then her face. Relief weakened his expression. You are alive. So are you. Avery reached him and stopped before touching him. Can I? Noah nodded. She wrapped her arms around him carefully. His body stiffened with pain. Avery released him at once. I am sorry. It is fine. No, it is not. She looked at Cole. Noah followed her gaze. The 2 men regarded each other with a silence full of history Avery did not know. Cole spoke first. Dr. Bennett. Noah's mouth tightened. Mr. Mercer. Avery looked at Grant. Leave. Grant glanced at Cole. Cole nodded. Grant stepped outside. Avery turned to Noah. Did Cole arrange your kidnapping? No. Did his people take you from Seattle numb? What happened? Noah lowered himself into one of the chairs. Mason's men approached me after my shift. They knew I had treated you. They knew about the pregnancy. Avery sat across from him. I am sorry. You did not take me. They found you because of me. They found me because men like them believe people are tools. Noah looked toward Cole. Some men are simply more honest about it. Cole accepted the insult without reacting. Avery asked, Did Cole force you to leave Chicago? Noah rubbed one hand over his bruised wrist. He offered me the position. After threatening you, he explained that staying near you would create problems. What kind of problems? Noah looked at Cole again. The kind I believed. Avery felt shame and anger twist together. I should have known. No, Noah said. You were trying to survive. Cole's voice entered the space between them. You also chose not to tell her. Noah looked at him. Because I thought leaving quietly would keep her safe. You were wrong. Yes. The word carried no defense. Avery looked between them. Every man who tried to save her had made decisions without her. Noah had left without explaining. Cole had watched without appearing. Mason had used Noah as leverage. Each believed he understood danger better than she did. Each had turned her into the center of a plan she had not chosen. What does Cole want from you now? Avery asked. Noah's expression changed. He wants me to confirm that Mason kidnapped me, that I was brought here during the attack, that I saw Cole's body before the fire. Avery looked at Cole. A body. Cole did not deny it. Who's a man who betrayed me? That is not a name. It does not need to be. It does to the family that will bury him. He had no family. You checked? Yes. Avery closed her eyes. Noah spoke quietly. The attack will look real. The building will burn. Federal agents will believe Mason killed Cole and several senior members of the organization. And Mason Cole answered. He believes Grant will take him to the airfield. Avery opened her eyes. What happens there? Cole looked toward Noah. Noah's face hardened. Tell her. Cole's voice remained calm. Mason will not leave Chicago. Avery understood. You are going to kill him? Yes. After using him to stage your death? Yes. Then the war ends because no one remains to fight it. Yes. The simple answers stripped the plan of every excuse. Avery looked at Noah. Can you refuse to give the statement? Noah glanced at Cole. Cole said nothing. Avery stood. I asked him. Cole held her gaze. Yes, he can refuse. Without consequences. Cole's jaw tightened. Without consequences from me. Noah gave a tired laugh. That qualification does not inspire confidence. Avery faced him. What do you want? Noah looked at his hands. I want to live. You do not have to help Cole. I know. Mason may still have people outside the building. I know. Cole can arrange protection without controlling your life. Cole said. That distinction becomes difficult when the threat is active. Avery turned. You agreed he could choose. Cole said nothing more. Noah looked at Avery. If I give the statement Mason's remaining people believe I saw what happened, federal agents place me in protection. Cole disappears. The men who took me lose their reason to look for me. You would be helping him escape. I would be helping myself survive. Avery sat beside him. Is that what you want? Noah met her eyes. Yes. She nodded. The choice belonged to him. It was not clean. It was still a choice. Grant returned. We have 6 minutes. Cole looked at him. Status. The fire crews are entering the lower levels. The west service route remains clear. Mason is moving toward the airfield. And Sloane. Her statement is being released. Avery stood. What statement? Grant looked at Cole before answering. Sloane Whitaker confirms the engagement ended after she discovered Cole had deceived her. Her family claims no knowledge of Mercer operations and condemns the attack. Avery almost admired the precision. Every emotion had been turned into evidence, every humiliation into protection. Cole looked at Noah. Grant will take you through the west stairwell. Federal officers will find you near the service entrance. Noah stood slowly. Avery touched his arm. Will I see you again? Noah looked at her. His eyes held affection, exhaustion, and something that had never been given enough time to become love. I hope not. The answer hurt. Noah continued. Not because I do not care about you, because seeing me again would mean this followed you. Avery swallowed. I am sorry. So am I. He looked at Cole. Do not make her regret surviving. Cole's expression did not change. I already have. Noah left with Grant. Avery watched the door close. For several seconds, neither she nor Cole spoke. Then another explosion shook the walls. Smoke began slipping beneath the safe room door. Cole took Avery's coat from a hook and held it out. We need to leave. She did not take it. Through which route? East Service Tunnel. And then a vehicle takes us to a private roof outside the city. A helicopter takes us to the airfield. From there, Montana. Avery remained still. Cole stepped closer. Avery. No. His face changed. The fire has reached the upper floors. I said no. You can argue in the tunnel. I am done being moved through your plans. There is no time. There was time when you built this. Cole's voice hardened. Take the coat. Avery looked at him. If I refuse, what happens? He went still. She waited. Smoke thickened near the floor. The alarm began sounding again. If I say I am not going to Montana, what do you do? Cole held her gaze. I take you anyway. The truth settled between them. Avery nodded slowly. Then, nothing has changed. Avery. You destroyed your organization. You staged your death. You built a house with unlocked doors. None of it matters if the moment I disagree you carry me out. The building is burning. That is not the point. It is exactly the point. No. The point is that you keep creating emergencies where your control becomes the only reasonable answer. Cole's breathing changed. Avery stepped closer. If you want a prisoner, stop calling me your wife. He looked at her as if she had struck him. If you want a wife, give me a choice. Flames appeared beneath the door. The room filled with smoke. Cole stood between Avery and the exit, every instinct in him demanding movement. Then he reached beneath his shirt and removed the pistol at his back. Avery tensed. Cole placed the weapon on the table. He reached into his coat and removed Avery's real passport. He set it beside the gun. Next came a black bank card bearing her name. Then a satellite phone. 3 objects. Identity, money, communication. The tools he had denied her. Cole stepped away from the table. The west stairwell remains open, he said. Grant can take you to Noah. Avery stared at him. I will order every man in the building to let you pass. Is this another test? No. What happens if I leave you enter protection with Bennett? You choose where to go when the authorities release you. And rose. His gaze dropped to her stomach. She lives without me. The words cost him something. Avery could hear it. What happens to you? I finish the operation. You go to Montana. Yes. Without us. Cole looked at her. Yes. The fire alarm screamed above them. Smoke curled around his shoulders. For the first time since she met him, Cole Mercer stood in front of an open door and did not block it. He nodded toward the table. "Choose Avery." The word carried none of Cole's usual command. It sounded almost like surrender. Smoke drifted through the safe room, soft at first, then thick enough to sting her eyes. The alarm screamed above them. Somewhere beyond the steel door, part of the penthouse collapsed with a roar that shook the floor. Avery looked at the objects on the table. Her passport, a bank card in her name, a satellite phone. Beside them lay Cole's pistol. For months she had imagined freedom as a door opening. She had pictured herself running through it without looking back. Now the door was open, and beyond it waited police, federal agents, Mason's remaining men, reporters, questions, and a life spent wondering whether the next stranger knew who Rose's father was. Cole stood several feet away. He did not reach for her. He did not block the exit. For the first time, the most powerful man in Chicago looked like someone who had nothing left to control. Avery picked up the passport. Cole's face remained still, but his eyes followed her hand. She placed the bank card inside it and took the satellite phone. Then she left the pistol where it was. "Take me to the west stairwell," she said. Something inside Cole seemed to break quietly. He nodded. The safe room door opened. Heat rushed toward them. Cole stepped into the corridor first, shielding her from the smoke. He moved quickly, but never touched her. The study beyond the hidden passage had become a skeleton of black wood and shattered glass. Grant appeared near the hall. His gaze moved between them. "The west route is clear." Cole looked at Avery. "Grant will take you." Avery turned toward the stairwell. She made it 3 steps before another explosion thundered below. The ceiling lights went dark. Emergency lamps flickered red across the walls. Grant reached for her arm. Avery pulled away. "I can walk." They crossed the ruined penthouse. The marble floor was covered with ash. The painting above the fireplace burned from one corner, its expensive frame collapsing inward. Avery remembered arguing with Cole about that painting during their first year of marriage. She had hated it. He had kept it because it belonged to his father. Now they both watched it burn. At the west stairwell, Noah waited with 2 federal agents who had arrived through the lower service entrance. His face was bruised, but he was standing. He saw Avery and stepped forward. "You came." She looked past him toward the open stairwell. Freedom waited below. Noah followed her gaze. "I can get you out." Avery placed a hand over Rose. "Can you keep her safe?" Noah hesitated. It was only a second. It was enough. "I can help you disappear," he said. "There are programs, people who know how to protect witnesses, from Mason, from anyone, even Cole." Noah looked over her shoulder. Cole stood at the far end of the corridor, surrounded by smoke. He had not followed them closer. "No," Noah said quietly. "I cannot promise that." Avery closed her eyes. She had spent 6 months proving she could live without Cole. She had worked through pain, hunger, fear, and loneliness. She had built a life from almost nothing, but Rose had changed the meaning of every risk. Freedom for Avery alone had been worth almost any price. Freedom with a child was different. Avery opened her eyes and looked at Noah. "Thank you." His expression tightened. "For what?" "For asking what I wanted when no one else did." Noah understood before she turned away. "Avery." She stopped. "He may be able to protect you," Noah said. "That does not make him a good man." "I know." She walked back toward Cole. He did not move until she stood in front of him. "I am not choosing you," she said. His jaw tightened once. "I understand." "No, you do not." Avery pressed the passport against his chest. "I am choosing the person most capable of keeping Rose alive." Cole looked down at the passport, then back at her. "What do you need?" "Conditions." The answer surprised him. Avery continued before he could speak. I keep my passport. I keep the money. I have access to the phone whenever I want it. Cole nodded. No one monitors my calls. Another nod. I choose my doctors. I decide who enters my room. Rose will never inherit your organization, your enemies, or your name unless she chooses it when she is old enough. Cole's face hardened at the mention of his name, but he remained silent. You do not restrain me. You do not threaten to take her. You do not use danger as an excuse to lie about anything involving our daughter. Smoke curled around them. Cole asked, and if I fail, I leave. His eyes darkened. Avery stepped closer. If you break one of these conditions, I will spend the rest of my life finding a way to destroy whatever you rebuild. For the first time that night, something almost like a smile touched his mouth. That sounds like my wife. Do not make me regret it. I already have. The honesty settled between them. Grant called from the stairwell. We have 2 minutes. Cole took the passport from Avery's hand and gave it back to her. Keep it. They left through this east service tunnel beneath the tower. Above them, the penthouse burned. By the time they reached the armored vehicle waiting beneath an abandoned hotel, news stations were already reporting the death of Cole Mercer. Avery watched the first images on a small screen inside the car. Flames poured from the upper floors. Reporters stood behind police barriers. Sloane Whitaker appeared before a crowd of cameras, her face pale and composed. She confirmed that her engagement to Cole had ended that evening. She condemned the violence and denied any knowledge of his criminal affairs. Every word had been prepared. Yet, when Sloane looked directly into the camera, Avery saw something real beneath the performance. Relief. The vehicle carried them to a private roof west of the city. A helicopter waited with its blades turning. Cole helped Avery inside, then took the seat across from her instead of the one beside her. Chicago fell away beneath them. The tower burned against the night sky like a signal fire. For a long time, neither spoke. Cole's hands were stained with soot. Blood had dried along his forearm. Without the suit, the guards, and the city beneath his control, he looked less like a crime boss and more like a man who had survived the destruction of his own name. I am sorry, he said. Avery looked at him. For which part? All of it. That is not specific enough. Cole turned toward the window. I am sorry I made fear the only language between us. The helicopter carried them over the dark edge of Lake Michigan. Avery felt Rose move. Cole noticed. He did not reach for her. That mattered. Avery took his hand and placed it against the movement beneath her coat. His fingers spread carefully. Rose kicked once. Cole closed his eyes. The moment lasted only a few seconds. Avery released him. It was not forgiveness. It was recognition that they were both still here. 3 weeks later, Avery stood outside the house near Bozeman, Montana. Mountains rose beyond the fields. Snow rested along the dark line of pine trees. The estate was isolated, but it did not feel like the penthouse. There were cameras. There were guards. There were also doors that opened. Avery tested every one. Her passport remained in her coat pocket. The satellite phone worked. The bank account held enough money for her to leave and raise Rose without Cole. He had kept the first promises. She did not trust him yet. But trust was no longer something he could demand. 2 months later, Rose was born during a snowstorm. Cole stayed beside Avery only when she asked him to. He did not speak during the worst of the pain. He held her hand and allowed her to crush his fingers without complaint. When the doctor placed Rose in his arms, Cole became completely still. The child looked impossibly small against his chest. He touched one finger to her cheek. You will never be afraid of me, he whispered. Avery watched him from the bed. Make sure she never has a reason to be. Cole looked at her. Then he nodded. Weeks passed. Avery began noticing the small ways he tried to change. He knocked before entering. He asked before holding Rose. He gave Avery information before making security decisions. Sometimes he failed. Sometimes his voice became too sharp, and every guard in the house moved before Avery could finish speaking. But he listened when she told them to stop. One morning, Avery walked to the edge of the property. The front gate stood open. Her truck waited nearby with a full tank. Her passport was in her pocket. Cole stood 20 feet behind her, holding Rose against his chest. He did not call her back. He did not order anyone to close the gate. Avery looked at the road leading toward town. Then she turned toward Cole. She walked back slowly, not because she had nowhere else to go, because for the first time staying was a choice. Cole handed Rose to her. "Welcome home," he said. Avery looked toward the open gate. "Do not call it home yet." Cole lowered his gaze. "Then what should I call it?" Avery held their daughter closer as snow began falling across the fields. "A chance." Cole nodded. Behind him, far beyond the house, one of his security men watched the road from the tree line. Avery noticed. She said nothing. Not yet. The cage had changed. The bars were farther apart, and this time she knew exactly where they were.